Last week, you all wanted to hear from him. Couldn't get it done because he was traveling. And this week, he is kind enough to join us at 6:30 a.m. local time, Tuesday morning in Australia. How cool is this? Robert Whittaker is joining us via the magic of Skype, and he is a true mensch for doing this so early over there in Australia. Thank you so much for joining us, Robert. We really appreciate it.
No, honestly, I appreciate being here.
And by the way, in case you don't know, the word mensch is a Yiddish word. It essentially means like a fine gentleman, a great person. So you may not have heard of that word in Australia, but that's a great compliment, the fact that you woke up so early to do the show.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that. Now I do.
Now you do. Okay. What has life been like since you shocked the world and beat Jacare? You're back home now. What's it like?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people want more media from me. You know, a lot of people are interested in what I have to say now than they were before. But, you know, from my perspective, life's the same. You know, I got straight back into the program. I went and told my family. My 2-year-old son didn't care. and yeah, you know, life is normal.
Is there a part of you that says, including to someone like me, hey, where were you when I was coming up? Why, you know, you're a Johnny-come-lately. You're just jumping on the bandwagon now. Now you're finally giving me attention. Is there a part of you that feels that way? You feel like, to me, too nice of a guy to think that way, but I feel like I have to ask.
The thing is, you know, a couple of years back, I decided I needed to make my inner circle and the people that surrounded me really close and tight knit. So, you know, when everyone's trying to jump on the bandwagon now and you know, get their 2 cents now that, you know, I'm doing kind of well, it doesn't affect me because I already have that tight niche of people that I stick to.
Okay. This was such a big fight for you on such a big stage against a guy who many thought should already be fighting for the belt. Ultimately, what drew you to this opportunity? Was it right away? Oh, yeah, Jacare, I don't care how good he is on the ground. I don't care how feared he is. This is a big spot for me to leap in the rankings? Or did you have to was this one of those where you had to kind of sit down with your team and think about it, pros and cons, that sort of thing?
No, this was a fight I jumped at. I've been trying to get a top 5 opponent for a long time, and you know, they offered a name, and you know, with respect to all of Jacare's skills, but I think everyone in the top 10, top 5 are killers. There's no easy fights. There's no easier fight than the next, and you know, Jacare is a great scout. You know, if it has to be said, and I wanted that fight. I wanted to test myself and see where I had to grow.
The guy who works in the back for us here, producer on the show, his name is New York Rick. He's a big Jacare fan. And I texted him right before the fight started. And I said, there's an upset coming here. Just from reading your body language and Jacare's body language, there was just something about the way you were conducting yourself, your poise. I don't know. It was just something kind of oozing out of you. I was like, oh, Robert Whittaker is going to win this fight. Did you sense anything out of him? I didn't feel that sort of confidence coming out of him as well. And I'm not the prediction type, but I have no problem saying that right when I saw you both in the cage, I was like, oh, this is very clear in Robert's favor. He seems a lot more confident in the cage. Did you sense that at all from him?
You know, I like to say this, but it's a funny thing because it's not measurable and it's not something I can say, oh, this is how it is. But when I square up to someone and I look at them in their eyes, I can tell how this fight's going to play out. And you know, I went into that octagon come Saturday with undoubted confidence in my training, my preparation, my ability, and for me to take that level of confidence into the octagon with me, there isn't a person in the division that can stop me.
Wow. Do you mind, Robert, if we actually call you on your cell phone, because the connection, it's like a little muffled, and I want to hear everything that you're saying, of course. So is that okay? Do you mind that?
That is 100%. Sorry, mate.
Oh, no problem. We're going to call you right now, and we'll get Robert on the horn here, because I obviously want to hear everything that he's saying, and I want people to enjoy the interview and obviously make it worth his while for waking up so early. So stand by, and we'll get Robert on the phone. And I'm not trying to be that guy, as New York Rick accused me of being last week, but the truth is I did text him. He has the proof. I texted him right as they walked into the cage. There was something about Robert's demeanor and Jacare's demeanor in there. I don't know what it was, but my big nose smelt it. I smelt upset. And what a performance it was for him. Amazing win over Jacare. And now We've seen him talk about potential title shot. The problem with 185 is there's such a long queue there of guys waiting, from obviously Mousasi to now Robert Whittaker. Luke Rockhold certainly in that mix, but it's hard to deny what he's done. Since his loss to Stephen Thompson at UFC 170 in February of 2014, he's won against Mike Rhodes, Clint Hester, Brad Tavares, Uriah Hall, Sapo Natal, Derek Brunson, and now Jacare. That is pretty amazing. Is he back? I think he's back. Robert, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Is that a little bit better?
That's much better. Thank you. I appreciate it. This may be a little too, over analytical, but it did also cross my mind. Did you see the news that Jacare was a free agent going into your fight? Essentially had one fight left, and then the day before he signed a new contract. And I was wondering if that was almost a gift and a curse for him, in the sense that, yeah, he got the new deal, but maybe now he takes his foot off the gas a little bit. Did you see that news and think the same thing?
I did see the news, and I thought it was funny. Because, when I go into a fight, I lock myself into that room that whole week, and I don't return calls. I don't talk to people. I don't go out and see the city that I'm staying at, because I'm there for work. I'm there for business. I'm there to do a job, and I don't know. To me, that they're the 1% that start to take away from you from the fight night.
Yeah. So when you saw that he had signed a new deal and he was celebrating, you felt like maybe his eye was coming off the prize a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. And, I might be far away off the mark to say this, but this is a personal opinion of mine, that when I see someone doing that, when I see someone celebrating or not thinking about the fight for even 1 second, I go, no, that's good. You keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I think twice as hard.
Wow, that is interesting. I was just going over your record there and the streak that you're on. How would you explain what's happened? I mean, is this just you coming into your own, or have things changed around you that have led you to go on this streak?
I definitely made some changes around me. After I had that second loss in a row to Stephen Thompson, I had to really assess where I was going and where I had started straying off the track. And, I just said back to basics, and I went home and I did a lot of changes with my family. So I stopped going away overseas. I stopped leaving my family because that was draining emotionally for me to be away from home all the time. It's hard to take a fight, and it's hard to fight with everything in it if you're homesick, and all you want to do is just get the fight done and go home.
Right.
And that was the first part. And then the next part was me surrounding myself with coaches that genuinely cared for me and wanted me to succeed in my career for their care for me, rather than their own hidden agendas.
And was it hard to find these people?
It's funny, I truly do believe in natural attraction and like attracts like. So I think once I started doing the right things with the family and started sticking closer to home, I kind of fell in with my coaches that I have today. I met them through natural means, and everything just kind of happened organically.
At what point did you start to feel like, okay, things are clicking here? Because you did win a couple of fights before that 2-fight losing streak, and then you come back and you had some nice finishes, a couple decisions, but then you start fighting the Brad Tavareses of the world and Sapo and Derek Brunson and of course Jacare. Was there a point where you started to feel like, okay, there's something clicking here, this is working, the changes are clearly working, they're clearly affecting me in the right way, and now we're on our way? Do you have a moment or a fight when you felt like there was a shift in how your career was progressing?
Yeah, I think it might have been after Tavares that I guess I moved over that mark of just trying to win fights and just trying to win my next fight, and really starting to decide and come with the idea, why can't I be champion? That's where I want to go now. I want to be the champ. And then it goes up to where I am today, that I don't want to just be the champ. I want to be one of the best ever.
Wow. Has I think I may hear your child in the background. Has fatherhood changed you for the better?
Definitely. A lot of people, it's very cliche to say so, but it definitely changes. It puts a lot of things in perspective. Yeah. It just gave me a better reason to why I'm fighting and who I'm fighting for.
And so I've seen you speak to the press in Australia about what you want next, and it's clear that you want the belt, and it's not so much about Michael Bisping. You said you just want the belt. If his neighbor had the belt, you said, I read this, you'll go after his neighbor. But unfortunately, there's a bit of a logjam, as you know, at 185. Do you think it's realistic that you will get the belt, or are you willing to wait, even if it takes several months to see this whole situation play out, because that's what you want next?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I think with my last performance, I showed the world that I deserve a shot. I did something that no one else in the division has done to, a fighter that hasn't been stopped in that way since, it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of the dudes are trying to just scrimp their way to having that shot by waiting it out, by sitting out, and by doing these little political maneuvers. But at the end of the day, they're running out of time. I am not. This is the beginning of my run. This is the beginning of my first run. This is the beginning of my career, just about. And if it's a time race, they're not going to win.
Yes, you are just 26 years old and born in 1990, which kind of blows my mind. But so does that mean, in other words, that you are going to wait? Because let me tell you, we spoke to Michael Bisping's manager. He was on our show earlier, and he said that he thinks that fight, Bisping versus GSP, is going to happen fall, winter. So we're talking about at least 6 or so months, if he's correct, before the fight actually happens. And then you have to wait for the guy to get better and all that. So this could be a year. Do you really want to sit out for a year in the prime of your career?
Well, it's not. If you've had a look at my past fight history, I don't seem to take fights on a rush anyway.
Yeah.
I like doing things and taking fights when my body's ready. I sit in the program, I train, and I'm just making huge skill jumps. And that's the biggest point for me right now as a fighter, and as for my longevity of my career, is that I need to make these close these skill gaps for all these high caliber dudes.
Okay.
How can I try to catch up with the Jacare's jiu-jitsu at my age? I need more time to do things.
Okay.
So the time doesn't faze me because I'm always staying active. I'm always trying to get into competitions, and I'm just furthering my training. And in between every fight, I'm making huge skill jumps. But it becomes a thing where, why shouldn't I wait? Because the champ has called me out.
Yeah.
To have that in my pocket, and then to have the time that I have, and the fact that he called me out, and the fact that I just come off an upset win, a very, very strong win in devastating fashion. Everything says you should just wait for that fight to ride out.
Yeah, that is right. Michael Bisping did kind of say that he thinks you deserve the title shot over Yoel Romero next, and I'm sure you're not going to argue with that. Good to have the champion say that of you. Do you think that he is saying that because he views you as the easier opponent? How do you take that? I'm
trying to think and work out the inner machinations of Michael Bisping's mind is a bit beyond me. But I think he does see that he owes me a fight. And what I did on the weekend, he's not looking past,
Right.
But whether or not he I think he might think I'm an easier matchup. Yoel's got a lot of hype and ride behind him as well at the moment. And I'm sure some part of him does think I'm an easier matchup. But I love surprising people.
And just curious, if they come to you with the Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker #1 contender fight, would you even entertain that at this point?
I don't see why I should. To be honest. It's I think because I think I've lined myself up and I've set myself up perfectly for that next shot. And the fact that Bisping has called me out on top of that is just cards in my favor.
Yeah,
cards in my favor that I should just sit tight, do what I'm doing, and be prepared for that title shot.
So at this point, here you are, 26 years of age, and you just pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the year. A lot of people are counting you out. Would you say that your career is progressing quicker than you imagined, even when you won the Ultimate Fighter, and you started in the UFC? Is this all happening a little sooner, or is this as you planned?
If you're going far as when I got off the Ultimate Fighter, I didn't even entertain thoughts like this when I had just gotten off the show. My ambitions were a lot smaller. But if we're collectively looking at it from a few years ago, there's no doubt in my mind that this is where I belong, and this was where I was going to go. And this is just the starting block, honestly.
Greater moment for you, more memorable moment, pulling off this upset, beating Jacare like that on Fox, or winning the Ultimate Fighter, getting into the UFC?
That's a tough one. This fight was very special to me. It was probably this fight. The Ultimate Fighter is a big thing, but it's hard to enjoy things when you're so skinny.
Yeah, amazing, right? I mean, I'm assuming you're never going back down, never even thinking about 170, especially considering the success. Do you wish that you did it earlier in your career, the move up?
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. I wish. I always knew that I was going to have to go up. There wasn't a doubt in my mind. But whether or not I think I should have done it sooner, because if I wouldn't have done it sooner, I wouldn't have had those losses to McGee and Stephen Thompson. And I think those losses were vital to my growth as an athlete and as for my career.
Between you and Tyson Pedro recently, and of course Mark Hunt is still around, this kind of feels like the greatest time ever for Australian / New Zealand MMA. Would you agree with that? There seems to be something brewing over here.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really proud and happy to see it grow. MMA's been growing in the countries for a while now, but at a trickle. And I think the fact that there are now some athletes getting in that top 15, that top 10 position, and we're starting to make some serious waves is only helping the sport grow. So
what do you do now? You're kind of just like sitting back, waiting to see how things, how the cards fall and how the dominoes fall and how everything's playing out. What is the plan now as you wait and see how, what happens with the division and what your next fight is? What's the plan of attack?
The plan of attack stays the same as it always has, mate. Firstly, I need to get my hands a little, checked out. After every fight, my hands are bloody sore.
Yeah.
I think that just has something to do with throwing them so hard at people's faces. But the plan stays the same. I get back in the program. Yesterday, which is Monday for us, I got straight back into training, and I'm just working on those skill gaps, just making skill jumps, and I'm just getting better as a fighter.
I had heard that you may have broken your hand in that fight against Jacare. Have you checked it out yet? Do you know the status?
I haven't managed to get to a doctor as of yet. The first week was super gnarly with a lot of media and stuff. All my best friends now. But I intend to get that checked out probably this week. I don't know. It might be broken, it might not be. It's just one of the things that happens every fight.
Does it feel broken right now?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
It's hard to say. I don't think I could play the piano right now, though.
Okay. And do you feel like this is something you have to figure out as you progress in your career to stop injuring your hand?
I've got it pretty worked out at the moment.
Okay.
I don't injure it any other period except for when I have to put on those small gloves, and I'm really trying to throw it at people.
Yes. Well, I hope it's not. So you're getting it checked out this week, you said?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with everything, and good luck getting that big fight next. And most importantly, right now, congratulations on the amazing win. It was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, you were just so on point, so confident. I thought the finish was a little funky there for a second. Not that I disagree with it, but the timing was a little weird. Would you agree?
It's hard to say because
the stoppage. I meant
when I was. Yeah, when I was I thought the stoppage could have been even a little earlier because, you know, as I was landing that ground and pound with him, he was going out. He was going unconscious and then coming back and then going unconscious and coming back. And, you know, every time I would hit him and I was landing some flush shots on him on the ground, his eyes were rolling in the back of his head and then coming back. And then, you know, it was a weird thing to see. And I'm like, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking, you know, stop this.
Yeah.
Oh, I want this to stop. And then, you know, as he went to turn away from me, the ref stopped it. And, you know, I support the ref's call. You know, I know it was hurting him, and I know there was no way back for him at that point. He just would have got hurt. But yeah.
Oh, and just to be clear, I was saying I thought it should have been earlier as well. I thought it dragged a little too long. I wasn't saying that I thought that it was a controversial finish or one that was a little premature. Quite the opposite. But in the end, you got the victory. It was a fantastic performance, well-deserved. Enjoy the victory. Enjoy being back home. And again, thank you so much for waking up early and doing this. We really appreciate it, Robert.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right. There he is, Robert Whittaker. We'll talk to him very soon. I am guessing. What a great guy. Wow, it was great to have him on for the first time, and no better time than now, coming off that big win over Jacare Souza. New York Rick, by the way, you don't see him, but he is still very, very torn up about the whole situation. We'll see what happens to him next. A very interesting, there he is, very sad, crocodile tears. There's your New York Rick fix for the day. We'll see how that whole division shakes out. They've got some tough choices to make.